Hey there, Hofstra fans. Welcome to this week's edition of the WB Mason Coaches Report right here on GoHofstra.com. I'm Mike Sullivan, joined as always by head coach of the Hofstra Pride Wrestling team, Rob Anspach. Coach, how are you today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Pretty good, Coach. And coming off a weekend at the New York State Championships, big headline, of course, Paul Snyder, taking first place. What did you see from his performance?
Paul started doing the things that we had talked about for a long time with him, taking shots, being more offensive, and he went out there and scored 18 points in one match, had 2 pins, and won pretty easily in the finals, although the score was close, relatively close. It was a pretty much dominated match by Paul. So, he finally took to what we said, went out there and was aggressive and looked really good.
How do you think he can build on this performance?
Well, I mean, obviously you get a win, and after starting the season 0-2 and stuff like that, and you come here and you win 4 matches, and it's all confidence. So now you take it in there. We'll step up the level of competition this week against Bloomsburg and Oklahoma and Central Michigan and teams like that. But hopefully he takes what he learned this weekend and applies it to next weekend. And then that way, win or lose, as long as you're doing the things that we're asking you to do, we're preparing ourselves for the end of the year.
Another one of those wrestlers they are looking to step up this year, Jermaine John at 174. He takes second place. As a sophomore, trying to build on his freshman season, what did you see from him this weekend?
Well, I thought Jermaine went out there, he did some things real well. His first match, or actually, I'm sorry, his second match was against the 11th ranked kid in the country,
Yep.
and he was able to win that match because he listened to the game plan we had put out there for him. He stuck to it, was able to get the win. So that was great. That was great for confidence for him. In the semifinals, he won the match, and although most people probably, if you weren't at the match, you won't see what happened. One of the things that we've been talking to Jermaine about a lot this year was knowing when you're in trouble and getting out of there and limiting the damage. Jermaine was a guy who would hang on to bad positions, and instead of giving up 2 points, gave up 5 points. And you can't do that against good guys. He was in the semifinals. He was in trouble. He was going to his back. He bailed on the move, gave up the 2-point reversal, but didn't give up the back points. It allowed him to be able to win that match. So, for Jermaine, he's starting, it seems like he's starting to turn that corner. He's starting to believe in what we're telling him to do, and he's listening to it, and he came in second. Best finish he's ever had in any collegiate tournament. So I'm hoping he's going to start just another thing that's going to add to him and say, okay, this is what I need to do. The coaches know what they're talking about. Let me listen to them, and I'll continue to improve that way.
At 184, Taurus Lewis, he's now 1-4 through 5 matches. First season, of course, here at Hofstra. Where do you think he can go from here? How do you improve his performance?
Well, with Taurus, it's not a level. It's not a matter of skill. I watch him wrestle in the room every day. He has the skills to compete at this level. Right now, he's struggling with the difference between freestyle and folk style wrestling a little bit. But more importantly, confidence right now. He's really down on himself. So as a staff, we got to start. We've been talking to him a lot about, it's one match. It's not the end of the year. You take a guy who's had so much success as he has on an international level, and a world level, and to come in here and to lose to guys that, quite frankly, he's better than. Is really discouraging for him, and he's taking it very, very hard. So we kind of got to play that psychologist role right now and get him forgetting about what's happened to this point, refocus, understand that he is a good wrestler, and continue to improve and get better each and every match. I did see some good things out of him this weekend that we can build off of, but he has to understand that and move forward with more of a sense of confidence than what he has right now.
Also from this weekend, we saw a couple different players in your lineup at 157 and 197. What were the thought process behind those 2 changes?
Well, we had 2 injuries, so we had to put 2 different guys in. And I think they went out there and they wrestled hard and they competed, which is what we expect of our guys that might not be in the role, but we always, in the starting lineup, we always tell them you never know what's going to happen. So Tyler Banks is going to be out for, it looks like about 6 weeks. So Jay Lisney is going to be our guy for that time, and he's expected to go out there and compete at a high level. And Victor, we're not sure about where he might be able to go this weekend. We might wrestle 1 match out of the 4. We might wrestle 2 matches out of 4. We're not 100% sure. We'll see how he can handle the injury and the pain threshold. But Tim Murphy went up to the New York State Championships, did a nice job, got a couple tech falls, was scoring points, and represented himself and the university well. So I feel if we need to rely on Tim, I have no problem putting him out there.
Looking ahead towards this week with the Northeast Duels, you brought it up quickly there. 4 matchups against 4 highly talented teams, 3 of them ranked in the top 25 right now in Oklahoma, Central Michigan, Purdue, and then Bloomsburg is receiving both. So, of course, the competition is going to be high. How difficult do you think this weekend will be?
It's going to be a challenge. There's no doubt when you talk about those teams, Oklahoma, Central Michigan, Purdue, and Bloomsburg, you know what you're going to get. They're going to come out, they're going to wrestle hard, they're well coached, they're in shape. So it's going to be a challenge for us. And our team needs to be ready. They need to be, from an emotional standpoint, an intensity standpoint, they need to be ready to go and match their intensity, because that's what it's going to come down to. We can compete with them. We're just as capable of winning these matches. The difference is going to be who's ready when they step on the mat. Within the matches, there's going to be some interesting ones. At 141 pounds, just to go off on a couple, is Luke Vite's going to be wrestling the #1 ranked kid in the country, Kendrick Maple from Oklahoma. So that's a match we're really excited about. I know Luke can wrestle, and this could be a match that puts him on the map more so than he already is. I mean, he's a guy that's been ranked as high as 7th in the country, so people are aware of him. But this is a match that I feel if he comes through this match and comes out with the victory, it's just going to put him to another level as far as his confidence and stuff like that. So we're really looking forward to that match. I'm looking for Steve Bonanno to rebound with some of his matches after losing in the finals to come out there. And he's going to have some tough competition with the kid from Central Michigan, Roth, is pretty good. The kid from Purdue, we're 1-1 against in our career, so that's by no means an easy match. And if you're looking at Oklahoma, they got the kid Patterson, who's a top 8 kid. So he's going to have a challenging weekend. We're looking for Justin Accordino to make his first appearance of the year this year. Not exactly sure how many matches he's going to wrestle. Definitely 1 for sure. If he feels up to it, we're going to put him out there for a second match, but 2 would be his limit for this weekend. But we're excited about having him step back out there, and that obviously helps the whole team in general when you have a returning All-American coming into your lineup.
You bring up Accordino there. You also brought up Victor Kuzny at 197, maybe seeing him once or twice this weekend. How do you go about as a coaching staff setting a lineup, for those 4 meets in one day? Do you go standard with the same guys? Are you looking to maybe throw in a couple new guys there depending on the matchups?
We'll basically look at it as, with Victor, it's going to be a case of how's that elbow feels really going forward. If he can wrestle all 4, he will. So him, it's just going to be, you're wrestling until you say you can't wrestle anymore, or till we see you competing at a level where it's hindering your performance, and then we'll make that call for him and pull him out, because Vic's a very tough kid. He's not going to tell us, Coach, I can't go. So we're going to have to watch him pretty closely and see what he can and can't do with the injury, and if it's affecting the way he's wrestling, that's why we're coaches. We got to step in and say, hey, you got to come out. Justin, you're talking about a kid that's a 60-year guy. He knows his body. He's going to sit there and this being his first competition back, there might be some rust on him. There might be some things that we're not used to seeing him compete that way. So with him, it's going to be a little bit more talking and finding out where he is. But then it's really getting the other guy saying, hey, you need to be ready to wrestle for this next match. We're gonna take it match by match, but you got to be ready to go in 2 hours or something like that. So you set up the best way you can. But things change, things happen all the time, and the guys going up there know their roles and know that they could be called on a moment's notice and to be ready to go.
Finally, Coach, going to be the key to getting a couple of victories in 4 meets this weekend at the Northeast Duels?
I think we got to rely heavily on our upperclassmen, guys like Bonanno and Franco, Vite, and Accordino to kind of carry us through those first couple weight classes. And if we can start out most maxes 4-0. We'll be well on our way. You need 6 wins basically in a dual meet, so if we can count on those guys. And then we need guys like Jermaine and Paul Snyder to come up, carry their weight. And then I think a guy who wrestled well this weekend was Nick Turdick, so I expect to see him continuously improve over these couple matches and stuff like that. So, it comes down to the same thing every week. We got to be prepared, we got to be mentally strong, and we got to be ready to go because, like you said before, these teams are good. They're not going to lay down for you. You're going to have to put them down. So we got to be ready for 4 wars.
The Hofstra Pride Wrestling team this weekend at the Northeast Duels take on Oklahoma, Purdue, Central Michigan, and Bloomsburg University. For head coach Rob Anspach, I'm Mike Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in to the WB Mason Coaches Report.